a legal
please
word.
keep in mind everyone's individual circumstances, situation is different, and may be subject to change based on various thoughts and opinions.
Trained
like to also put out disclosure too, we are not part of no sovereign citizen movement. We are non-citizen nationals, foreign nationals on the land. We're not in the land at all. With that being said, without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Tim.
They're trained to deal with the insubordinates, and that's basically what they do. And that's where that old man opened my eyes. That police chief opened my eyes, and now a lot of people have been opening my eyes, including some of those that we listen to now. And it's a pretty interesting system that they have planned right now. I mean, it's a pretty interesting system that's running. And
what years were you in there?
I was in it from 96 to 2013.
2013. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that'd probably be right on the edge of what would be one of my questions, because one of the things that those that are really awake to what's been going on as far as the U.S. corporation has been doing worldwide and inserting our power and authority and protection over certain lands in the world. We've seen a certain uprise of different crimes and different addictions here in America.
Yes.
And I know when you go in, I've gone in and tried to do some research on, for instance, like heroin addiction specifically because of the situation with Afghanistan. And well, I don't like saying we, but the U.S. went into Afghanistan, first of all, and soldiers over there were complaining. They're like, gosh, we went over here, we thought we were coming over here to help, and we're finding ourselves guarding the poppy fields, And when I've gone into research like heroin addiction, it seems like a lot of information stops at around 2014. And some of the last info that you find, and I don't mind, in talking about this, I don't mind using the word information, because the word information actually means knowledge of a crime. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a crime of a century, or one of them at least.
Yes, it is. It is.
But even up to like 2014, in a lot of areas, that there was heroin addictions that had risen by 40 to 60%.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous. And to me, what was even crazier is how much more limiting the information is that you can find regarding that subject matter from 2014 to the present day. So, I was just kind of curious if you had started to see that trend when you were in there in your latter years serving.
Well, the drug problem is not a problem. It's an actual control mechanism for the people. Like I said, people are slaves. They're in control for the people, for the insubordinates. It's put out there, and I believe that what I've discovered through the studies that I've done is that the CIA run the whole operation. CIA have run several operations from Kennedy to now, and it's so much of the operation is to where the addiction is. You can see on heroin, any type of drugs, cocaine, crack cocaine, has been in the minority, or should I say, the low-income families, where I guess they're trying to cleanse the area that they're looking for, because some of the areas, and I'm going to use the city of Houston, where I'm at now. There's certain areas that has been infested by drugs and have been infested by drug use and all that. Well, those areas are being cleaned out. How are they being cleaned out? They put in more drugs. Why they put in more drugs? The reason why they put more drugs into a community is to take those people out. Because if they raise the taxes, they're not going to be able to take them out. Okay? It's going to show that they're doing a raise of taxes to make something disappear. But if you use the drugs, it's gonna be like, well, it was his fault. They're gonna blame it on the person that was taking the drugs. So either he got killed or he died or whatever. So what the cities do or the municipalities do, they come in, they do that, and they take the abandoned property and they start building 3-story high class apartment home or 3-story home or whatever. So they start buying off all these lands because they're abandoned property due to the fact that people have died from overdose or whatever. So there's no family members that take over the property or pay the taxes on the property that's been owed for 3-4 years. So the city takes possession of it. And if you see that trend in every city, then my studies or the search that I've been doing, it's actually true. They're using the drug infested to clean out these communities, clean them out so they can come and take over and build their luxury view, their luxury in a building to where the ones that are within the city limits will be people that are not insubordinates. They're going to be people that are willing to submit. They are willing to accept what's coming. That's willing to see in the District of Columbia. There's people there that accept the system. There's people there that accept how everything works. Well, that District of Columbia in Washington is the same exact form that's being implanted in every municipality. Okay? Every municipality is a copy of the District of Columbia. Every municipality, it doesn't matter if it's a small municipality, if it's a big municipality, it's the same copy. It's the same split copy of that shadow. And what they're doing is that they're pushing out the insubordinates that are not accepting what they're doing, and they're letting people in. They're willing to pay more. They're willing to accept what they're being given. So they're actually looking for people that are willing to, I guess, you could say, yes, my Lord. Say, yes, my Lord. Yes, my King. Those are the people that they're looking for. The insubordinates, well, guess where they're going? They're going to the house so they can sit and they can collect rent out of their trust fund. That's basically what they're doing.
Yeah, I know. Gosh, what was her name? The head of Defense Raised here a few months ago talking about the Strong Cities Initiative. And I think you're right. If we want to see what's going to be happening in the other cities and things like that, probably take a look at Washington, D.C. That's their role model. And we know Washington, D.C., at least the inner populace there, that's rated, I think that's number one as far as income goes and as far as wealth goes in America.
Yes.
It's like one of the richest areas. So that's what they're doing is it's just bringing in the rich and pushing out the poor. I know here, I live on Fort Myers, Florida, and I know downtown here, they've erected a huge, gosh, how many stories is it? I don't know, 16, 20 stories, condo complex right downtown, right down in the heart of town on the river. And last I knew, I think there might have been 5 or 6 people living there so far because they're so expensive.
Yes, they are.
And, and you were in at the right time also to see kind of a change in the heartbeat of America. I don't know if it was really the way people feel. I think it's more of the way that the media tells people that they feel. And that's what the media is used for. The media is used to tell us what we want and how we think and how we feel about things. And one of the very first press conferences that the CEO, Obama, did was after what was his name? Professor Gates. Professor Gates had locked himself out of his home, and police came and arrested him for trying to break into his own home. That was one of the first press conferences that Obama had done, and he said that the police had acted stupidly. And it was like, gosh, that was his first step in starting to kind of ruffle the waters between the people in America and the police force, who for years, it's like there had always been an attempt to try and make it seem like, the police were our friends and you can go to them. You know what I mean? You think all the way back to like the Norman Rockwell painting with the police officer and the little boy sitting in the cafeteria, And so there had always been an attempt to have kind of a friendly interface between the two. And then here comes Obama on one of his very first press conferences. He refers to the police as having acted stupidly. And it only escalated from there underneath his regime or underneath that cabal. And did you see an attitude within the force regarding how they felt about the populace while you were in there?
To the officers or to the people?
Well, from the officers, regarding the people, do you think they got sucked up in that same mentality of, oh my gosh, the people all hate us now, and so now we've got to be tougher on them?
Back in 2013, my last year, we would sit down and talk, and I would tell them, look, basically what's happening is that they're building us up to hurt people. They're actually building us up to do evil against these people just because they don't, put your hands behind your back, and they don't do it, then we all swarm in, It's not supposed to be that way, and I would have long conversations with them regarding the use of force. And I would tell them, look, the use of force is just an example of what you are going to do. The use of force is not it's not an actual step to take. It's an actual programming in you to take. Now, the use of force that you use out of who you are, out of the person that you are. But they don't understand that. They believe that as they are programmed, they have to act on how they were taught. And that's what I want to get through to the listeners, that a lot of these officers do not know anything but legal talk. They do not know anything but the fiction that's working in their lives. They don't know what we know. They do not know. I mean, some of these guys, they have GEDs. They didn't even graduate high school, which, maybe that's a good thing, But the training and some of these guys are just as regular, Joe Blow that, he's kind of slow, Some of these officers are slow, and I'm telling you because I met so many of them, and say, hey, man, come on, we got to get this going or get this right. So yeah, it'll get done. So either they felt lax on what they started doing, or they didn't want to do the job. And some of them didn't want to do the job. I mean, I've seen maybe 7 officers quit because they knew, and I'm still having contact with them, they knew that every ticket they gave was committing fraud. Every ticket that they gave out was committing fraud. And if you live in a big municipality where the city doesn't have money, it has to create a bond. It has to create something to bring the people into the court. So they have to create a bond to bring the people in, to bring those that violated, which is called a vehicle transportation code or a penal code or something. They have to do something because the city doesn't have money, and the way the city gets money is the same way the U.S. government does. It is through bonds. As you all know, the United States get the money from the birth certificate bond. Well, same thing with the city. The city get the money through registrations, through licenses, through everything, and through tickets. They call them citations. Well, those are actually bonds. But the change that I've been seeing in these officers that have been quitting were they told me, the last one that I spoke to a while back, he told me, look, man, every ticket that you give out is not backed up by the city. It does not have a stamp of the city. It's not protected by the city. So whatever goes wrong with that, I mean, even if they have to sue you, you're going to lose because the city's not going to back you up. And that got me thinking also, okay? So every ticket that they give out is a bond. It's a bond to, well, it's more like an appearance bond. It's a bond for you to appear in court, and if you're not smart, like most of us aren't, we go to court, and we take the body in instead of trying to fight it, 24 hours or 24 hours before, right after you get the citation, you have to go into the court and say, hey, I want to take care of this, but boom, take care of it, and boom, now you're the creditor. Now you're showing up as a creditor into court. And a lot of people don't understand this, so they wait to the court date, and when you show up at the court date, that means that you were dishonored or you're in dishonor. You didn't take care of this, within 24 hours when the citation was given to you. So that's how they generate revenue for the city. They create these appearance bonds by citations. And there's been a lot of changes within the police department. There's been a lot of training. I used to be a in-service training officer, and I used to train, and everything that I gave as training, it was all new laws that they were coming out. New laws to generate revenue. New laws that, oh man, this is great. A lot of these officers, man, this is great. We can catch a lot of people doing this, and we can give I don't know how many tickets a day. So they're trying to find little things that people know, or the police officers will know, that people will violate often, so they can get revenue into the city. And because the city doesn't have revenue or doesn't have money, they need us. They need us. Why? Because we carry the credit. We carry the money. We carry the actual value that they need. So they need to bring us in. And how they do it? They do it by a citation. And if we don't understand the system, we're going to go to court, and they're going to give us as much as they want. I mean, they can give us a whole citation, say you're guilty for the whole citation, or you only pay half, but they still get the money from the exemption account. I mean, it's so much of a trickery, so much of how the system is out there and how it works. I mean, it's just amazing, and that's why I'm here to tell the people that when you get a ticket, don't sign it. All you have to do is, if you're within the system, if you're not out of the system yet, write down the system codes. You can write down the ticket, just write down UCC 1-308, and that's it. You don't have to sign your name. You don't have to sign your autograph. And if you sign your name, only print your first name. That's it. Do not use your surname. Do not use your last name. Just print your first name and put UCC 1-308 on top of your name and stamp it. If you have a pocket stamp, you can stamp that ticket with your stamp. Why? I'm going to tell you why. A citation It's not backed up by the city. It is backed up by the officer. He's a slave. He's a slave just like you. Okay? When you stamp it with your stamp, when you clench that paper with your stamp, that means that you're the creditor. So even if you stamp it and the judge, the judge sees that ticket clamped with you being the creditor and you being in honor, guess what? You might not even have to go to court. You might get a letter, or you might when you show up for court, you say, "Oh, Mr. Smith, this ticket doesn't exist." Why? Because you took priority over that ticket. You see, that's what we need to do. We need to be in honor in everything. That's because we're still within the system. When we depart from the system, then it's going to be a different story. We cannot work within the fiction, and that's what I want people or man to understand, that there is ways to get out of the ticket and stamp the ticket with the living. Stamp the ticket with the living. Stamp it. Once you get it, and they want the copy back, stamp it, give it to them. Do not sign it with your last name, only with your first name. And I believe that's going to help out a lot of you guys. Okay?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've told a lot of people too, and showing people like the embosser I had done and everything. And I've got my UCC 308 stamp as well that I try and keep near me as much as possible, because
yes,
when you've got a stamp that's been pre-made and you're using that shows intent, that shows pre-thought, that shows knowledge.
Yes, and the judge knows. The judge, once he sees that stamp and understands, he's gonna know that, okay, he's not one that we want to bring in, because he knows, he understands. And the stamp that I have, here comes the train. The stamp that, sorry, go ahead. The stamp that I have it's just a regular stamp that says that it just says private. It says private. I got it back there. It says private executor and beneficiary. That's all it says. And if you want to put your first name on top, you can put your first name on one of the inner circles or the outer circles. You can put your first name, and at the bottom put executor and beneficiary and put private. That's it. That's what I've done. And basically every time I get pulled over and try to get a ticket, I put my stamp on it, and the officer asks, "Well, what are you doing?" "I'm stamping this ticket." "Why?" "Because he doesn't have power over this ticket. You do, and you're a slave. So guess what? I'm gonna beat you to it." So I stamp it, and before he can do anything, it's already stamped. Don't tell him that you're gonna stamp it before you do. Grab the ticket, act like you're gonna sign it, stamp it. Stamp
there you
it.
There you go. He's asking you to endorse it, and you get to use whatever instrument you want to use. Use whatever instrument you want to use to endorse it.
That's great. And when the judge sees it, then guess what? You're above the slave. You're above it. They won't. You probably even show up in the court, and that ticket won't even exist. So that's what I've learned a lot. Have you
had experiences with that?
No. Well, can you repeat it again?
I said, have you had experiences yourself with doing that?
With the stamp?
Yeah.
No, I never. Okay. The first time that I used it, I stamped it. The officer just looked at me, and he looked at it, and I don't know if it was an officer that understood it or not, But he looked at me and all he did was say, you know what? I'm just gonna make it as a warning. And so he gave me a warning. So I mean, I'm telling you, it's working, and I believe there's officers waking up. I believe they are. I believe they're understanding. But if we that are driving or traveling, if we that are traveling, and we that have, let's say there's a couple of cops sitting down eating, go up to them and say, hey, officers, I just want to give you, if you have time, talk to them. These guys are not evil, not unless you fail to follow their procedures, their legal codes and stuff like that. That's the only way that they'll get you. Other than that, some of these guys are great, and some of these guys are open to this information because all they've been since they began college and through the academy, all they have learned is the system of the penal code, traffic code, and the criminal procedures. That's all they know. That's all they understand, and that's what they act on.
Yeah, they're a lot like attorneys. Basically, attorneys, they go through college and all they learn is procedure. They really don't learn the law.
Yes, that's right.
And as far as learning stuff too, that brings something else to mind that I wanted to ask if you had ever seen any evidence of while you were there.
No, sir.
I heard a wife of a sheriff talking here a few months ago, and I've also heard this information in a few other places as well. And that is that after a man or woman gets elected to the position of sheriff, that they actually go to Langley Air Force Base for some more in-depth training from, I think it's CIA.
Yes.
And when they come back, that, like the one wife I heard talking, she said that when her husband came back from his sheriff's training at Langley, he was not the same person at all.
No. If you want to be a police officer, or a chief, a police officer, or an assistant chief, or one of the lieutenants and sergeants. Lieutenants and sergeants is still okay. They still don't know, but the captains, the assistant chiefs, the deputy chiefs, and the assistant chiefs, or the chief of police. Those people have to go through Langley, and the training that you get is basically the training that District of Columbia has, and that's basically that I believe, I've never spoken to a chief that wants to reveal the training that they have, but they say it's a pretty good training. That's all they tell me. It's a pretty good training. I like it, but I believe that they go through a lot of training to where it changes their perspective of how they view things, and if you're a man or a person, I'm gonna use a legal word, a person that likes your career, well, guess what? You're gonna stay within your career. You're not gonna let it go. You're gonna accept the training. You're gonna accept what they tell you to do. You're gonna accept everything they offer you, and I believe that's what happens. And that's what I'm saying. The chief of police, the sheriffs, the marshals, they all know. Everybody knows, except for the lowest ones, the ones that are over the subordinates and stuff like that. They still don't know. But once you try to become a chief of police, a sheriff, a marshal, one of these that govern the whole department of law enforcement, then you get the training in Langley, which means basically the District of Columbia training. That's basically what it is. And I believe there are some recruits that go through there. I believe they take an oath, and if you read the police officer oath, everything is legal. Every oath that you see, it's a legal oath. Even the president's oath, if you read it and understand it, if you dissect it, just like I have with the Pledge of Allegiance and the Constitution, if or the preamble, if you dissect it, you're gonna know that every word in there is not a regular English word. It's
right.
to me, it's like a code and a spell within ourselves when we take an oath. And
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's why the Scripture told us not to swear.
Yes.
You know, everybody thinks it has to do with cussing. That's what our grandmothers tried telling us. It had to do with swearing and cussing. No, it didn't. It had to do with taking an oath and giving our allegiance over to something else, to another entity.
Yes.
And there should only be one entity that our allegiance goes to.
Correct. And so far, man and mankind have failed in realizing the truth, and a lot of people or a lot of men are happy where they're at. And by me saying man, I'm generally speaking man, woman, child, teenager, everything. Man has failed.
PA General, let me digress just for a second here, because before I forget about it, I had a question from somebody regarding the stamp that you use. Do you have a photo of that you could post into Tactical Sovereignty into the group?
Yes, I will stamp it and I will post it up on online. Once I get off this call, I'll try to do that as quick as I can and get it done.
All right, cool. Yeah, there's people that are curious to see what it looks like and things, and and stuff like this gives other people an idea of how, they can structure their stuff as well. I've shown mine, and I've seen other people's, and I kind of wish I had maybe seen more of them before I made mine. I may redo mine, I may not. I don't know.
Great.
Being the first one, I might have some sentimental attachment to it. Who knows? But still,
as you go,
it shows people it's simple to do.
Right. Yes. As you go, you do adjustments. You might buy 2 or 3 stamps before you get the correct one. But I'm going to show you what I have on the one that you can stamp on the citations. Make sure you keep it in your pocket or in your car at all times. But be the first one to honor. Be the first one to be the executor. Be the first one. Don't go into court and wait for them to make you the surety. Okay? Do not go into court, because if you go into court and they're gonna trip you to become the surety, and they're gonna get you. So be the first one, which is stamp it. Stamp the ticket with you being the executor and the beneficiary.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, if you go into court with your tail between your legs, you're going to leave with your tail between your legs too.
That's it.
And like our buddy Tim likes to say, with having had the toilet brush up the butt.
Yes, sir. Yes. But it's amazing what I've been learning being in law enforcement in the years that I was have brought me to realize a lot of things, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm telling people what I know and how to get away. I mean, there are times that I feel like I wish I could find that open door to understanding, get out the system as quick as I can, as a quick process. But I believe it's a time, it's a moment, and it's a place that's going to happen, and it's going to be known. I believe there's an open door, and I believe in December during the time of Jubilee. I think it's December Jubilee, right? Jubilee is where they celebrate. December is when they celebrate Jubilee. I believe the door is there, and they show you, but we don't catch it. I believe it's there.
Yeah. Judge Johnson is piping in. Did you have something to say, Judge Johnson?
Yes, I'd like him to explain precisely what a private attorney general is, how it differentiates from the bar members, and all that neat stuff, if you can do it briefly.
Yeah,
sure.
thank you. I was going to have him cover that too.
Okay, if you've done the UCC one already through the Secretary of State, that the RICO law has given you power of becoming a private attorney general. And no, you're not licensed by a bar. You're a private attorney general, and that gives you, through the RICO law, an opportunity to defend what the bar cannot defend. I don't know if that's
okay.
easy.
Where is the RICO in the U.S. Code?
You can search. You can search it. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I have it here in my notes. Hold on.
Yeah, I think the position of private attorney general is something that was kind of left open. It's an office that wasn't filled in the legislation and was purposely left open for Americans to step into as far as being able to defend each other on a whole. This is the way I've always understood it.
Yeah, I'd like to figure out where the RICO stuff is and how it applies, and I'm getting ready to do to once again. I did this back in '07 when I was just getting the itch comprehended, as it were, as far as the UCC 1 and UCC 3, and I'm about to do it once again, except I'm probably going to have to go about it in a very unusual manner, because State of Colorado SOS website does not allow me to put in the zip code that I want to put in, which is non-domestic without the United States. I'm a living man. I'm not a federal subject. So I'm going to have to do it a little bit on the unusual side. I'm seriously considering getting everything filled out, all documents together, including attachments and security agreements, hold harmless, etc., and putting it in the public record, getting a certified copy of that, and sending it to the Secretary of State of Colorado, and see how they react to that. But can you tell me where the RICO stuff is in the U.S. Code, please?
Yes, I'm still looking at my. I'm not at my computer. I'm actually outside in the car. The private attorney general. It was a provision. I think it was the racketeering influence and corrupt organization, if I'm not mistaken. It allowed the average citizens to sue organizations. Hold on, let me.
Well, just a quick recursory search brings up 18 U.S.C. 1961. As far as the definitions part of that situation, apparently, or maybe. Racketeer, influence, corrupt organizations, blah, blah. Let me pull that up. Yep, that's it. Racketeer for R, influenced for I, corrupt for C, and organizations for O. Yep, that's RICO. 18 U.S.C. 1961 definitions, 1962 prohibited activities, 1963 criminal penalties, 1964 civil remedies, 1965 venue and process, 1966 expedition of actions, 1967 evidence, and 1968 civil investigative demand. Okay.
Yeah,
is private attorney general listed in any of that stuff, or is it just kind of an ambiguous perspective?
No, I'm gonna give to you the civil RICO. Okay, it's you find it in 18 U.S.C. 1964, and expressly authorizes civil remedies in addition to any criminal remedies that also exist to prosecute organized crime. You find it in the 18 United States Code 1964.
Okay, I'm in that now.
Yeah.
It would take me a couple 3 minutes to read through this specifically. But lowercase a has the district courts of the United States shall have jurisdiction to prevent and restrain violations of sections 1962 of this chapter by issuing appropriate orders, including but not limited to, and on down the line.
Right. And then it helps you with the violation of state and federal laws, both qualify as RICO predicated acts, and that's under the 18 United States Code 1961 1B, and it also tells you the list of federal offenses that qualify as predicate acts. So it's a pretty hard title. I mean, you're gonna have to really understand the completeness of it. Really understand what private attorney general stands for, and you're gonna have to act as that private attorney general. And don't get me wrong, you will bump into situations. Sometimes the judges will not let you. They call it practice law. They're not gonna let you, but that's why they have paperwork that you can file that you're representing a certain person there. You know, if you already understand the system and want to help people, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to completely understand everything to where I can start representing people in court instead of them getting a lawyer or a bar lawyer. They can start coming up to me and say, hey, you know, I need help with this. Okay, I'm learning how to understand mortgage right now, how the mortgage works, how I can go by doing it. So there's a lot of people needing help on that. I have guides them to several people on my list. And I mean, once you get your hands on all of it and you understand the whole system, you understand how, then you can try to start working as a private attorney general. I mean, you don't have to actually present yourself as a private attorney general at the courts, but you can say to regular Joe Blow, hey, I'm a private attorney general, and if I can help you with that. And that's how we're going out and teaching the people that doesn't understand the system. We're teaching them and waking them up. And
PA General, I had a question. As far as like operating under the status of like a private attorney general, do you have an oath that you would file anywhere with them, just, you know, to give a heads up, you know, as far as the stand that you're taking?
No, sir. No. There's such thing as an oath in a living man. There's no oath.
Right.
For a living man, there's no oath. You're just you're just exercising what it is, a title through RICO law. There's no such thing as an oath there that I know of. I have not found an oath from a private attorney general. I have not. So I don't think it does. And either way, you're being the living man. You're being the executor, the beneficiary. There's no such thing as an oath for a living man. There's no oath. There's nothing that you can take. Not unless you say, you know, under the, because I got one stamp that I have Kingdom of Heaven on the inner circle, Kingdom of Yahweh in the below circle, and in the center, I have, that's what I have. Well, then I can bring my own oath, which is I fall under the nature and the governance of Yahweh, or under the governance and nature of God. That's my oath. He is my vindicator. You're not. The state's not. The government is not. The Federal Reserve is not. None of you guys are the dictator than what it is, than what I have as a living man. None of them are. That's why I don't think there's an oath, but an understanding that you live under God, you live under Yahweh. You work through His government, not through theirs.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying there. That makes sense.
If I may.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sir Johnson.
Yeah, I went ahead and actually typed in private attorney general into a search engine, and there's even a Wikipedia listing for it.
Really?
Yep. Private attorney general is an informational term usually used today in the United States to refer to a private attorney who brings a lawsuit considered to be in the public interest, i.e. benefiting the general public and not just the plaintiff, on behalf of a citizen or group of citizens.
Yeah, that I think I've read that before.
Anyway, I yield the floor and probably the call. Thanks very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Sir Johnson. You have a great evening.
You know, the private attorney generals, they dictate to eliminate racketeering activity, and I believe that if we understand, we're going to stop this racketeering activity. We're going to stop it, you know, and I believe when we, like you, any man within mankind, stamps that citation when they get it, that they're the executor and the beneficiary, it's going to stop that racketeering, and I believe they're going to try to do something different for us to stop doing that, you know. But meanwhile, let's take advantage of it. I know that it's the private attorney general. I'm not going to say it's a burden, but it's something heavy to carry. And if you got your understanding of everything, go for it. Present people. Show the court that, hey, there are people out here that understand your evil system, and we're here to defend this person. We're here to defend this man. We're here to defend this family. We're here to defend this estate, you know, because if you look back in history, there was no such thing as a family Doe or as a family Joe Blow or anything. It was John. It was Mike. It was Reuben. It was Luke. It was Matthew. I have never seen a last name in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I have not seen a last name. You know, I haven't seen a last name in none of these people. Daniel, David. None of these guys had a last name. When did the last name derive from?
Well, we know when we go back and look at even the royal families, even of today, England, you know, in the British colonies, these families, you know, we call them the families. Well, what's their family name? What's their surname? They don't use surnames. You know what I mean?
Correct.
They may be from the family Windsor or something like that, but they don't use that first, middle, last, or anything like that.
Right. Also, I want to say, as a private attorney general, you can appear in court. You can appear in court without a license. They call it a license to practice law. You know, you can appear without it, but there's certain instructions you gotta follow. There's some paperwork you gotta fill out, but you can present people, and if you're willing to do that, and if you're willing to take that position in your life to defend people, go for it. I ask, and I value what you will do, because it's gonna help to make the courts understand we don't need you guys. We can take care of our own. That means that you're being an honor. You're honoring your life. You're honoring who you are. So yeah, you're showing up to court. You're being honored. You're there. You know, let's say you're there for a foreclosure. You're honoring them by just showing up. But yet, don't get a bar lawyer. Get you a private attorney general. There's some private attorney generals right now that defend people, and I like that. You know, I like that because it's coming up, and it's actually something that are understanding and learning, and they want to do that. They want to mankind. They want to do for man. They want to do for that family that's listening at home. And if you know how the system works, well, guess what? You can save them from bringing workforce on their home, which, they probably have paid for 20 years, 25 years, and then they're going to be closed for 2 months. Come on, really?
Yeah, I've seen, partially from some of my own personal experience, but though seeing what others are doing as well. It seems like I see a lot of people questioning jurisdiction and things like that, and I've yet to see, and of course I know they would never put that out there in the public for everybody to see, but I've never seen a situation of anybody questioning jurisdiction, for instance, and having any success with it. They always seem just to get walked on and ignored. And my belief is that the reason for that is because by your so-called appearing, you've probably given them jurisdiction just by doing that alone, and that any correspondence that needs to be done or should be done really needs just to be done in the paperwork. I really think court exists in the paperwork alone, and by you appearing is basically just you coming and putting your head on the chopping block is all you're doing when you do that.
Correct. Right. And Bryan, being a police officer for so many years and understanding how everything functions within a municipality, the rule of the game is they want to create a debt. They want to create a debt which is against the law, and we don't know that. We don't know that a lot of people or a lot of men does not understand that creating a debt it's against the law. And creditor can only issue a bond as evidence of a public debt. If you issue a bond on your ticket, let's say you go and you get a bond for your ticket, then you're evidencing that it's a public debt, and the use of a bond is to discharge other public debt. So the system is so encrypted, but I believe that a lot of people are touching base on a lot of things, and that's why I have different people or a lot of men that are searching different subjects, because little bit by little bit from everyone, every single one of us, it's gonna create a big bomb that's gonna explode, or it's gonna blow this whole thing apart. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm hoping, that one day everybody as mankind and have an understanding of what's going on, get together and create that bomb to where it'll blow up this whole system apart. And I believe it's going to happen. I believe it's happening. It's the same thing, with being a private attorney general. You're a private banker. And if you don't understand that you're a private banker, well, guess what? You're always going to be playing with debt. You're a private banker right now. You're the creditor. Your acceptance of the amount number takes it to the private side. And we use that for adjustment and set off. Sometimes many of us want to fill the UCC one because we want to show them something. We want to show them, hey, we got control of it. No, you are already a secured party creditor, no matter if you don't file one. The UCC one, when you file it, is to give them notice. To give them notice on the public side that you have collateral rights. And being a police officer has taught me a lot of things, or understanding what these guys have done has shown me a lot of things about public debts and set off and how bonds work and how the surety works, and the surety bonds, the performance bonds, and it has really taught me a lot. And I mean, I would like to go into detail of what every bond is and how they act and how they perform in a court, because all they want is your credit. The city, all they want is your credit. They need money. That's all they want. They take you in there, and if you don't know, you go in there, you start fighting. Oh no, I wasn't driving fast. That cop is lying. Blah blah blah. Well, guess what? You just dishonor yourself. You became the surety right there and then. Show up as king. Show up as ambassador. Show up as a priest. Show up to court and say, hey, I'm here to take care of my affairs. Let's take care of it.
Well, you talk about them needing money and stuff like that, and the more and more we learn about the CAFR accounts, the more I'm really coming under the realization as them needing money is basically just more to me of the BS that they've been throwing down everybody's throats through the media and stuff like that. And whether it's a newspaper on the news, we'll see like the county's budget, and then how much they plan on things costing, and oh my gosh, we're going to be, $5 million in the red for this year, So oh my gosh, we're going to have to raise millage, need to raise taxes, et cetera. Which on the backside, the other side of the books on the CAFR accounts, they're invested in businesses, they're invested in stocks, they're invested in these bonds like you're talking about, and they're bringing in so much money that far outweighs whatever their annual budget is, that technically everybody should really be receiving a dividend check every year from the county that they live in or the state, and even the U.S. government servicing company, the way it's set up as well. The U.S. should even be sending everybody a dividend check. I mean, people know that U.S. government is invested very heavily in large portions of, say, Coca-Cola. They're invested in Walt Disney. They're invested in motion pictures. They're bringing in money. They're bringing in lots of money, but it's just not on the side of the books that's given for the people to see. You know what I mean? And so to me, with these bonds that they're running on the backside, like you're talking about, like the performance bond, replevin bond, or bid bonds or whatever with the courts, what they're really doing is they're just trying to get richer is all it is. That's another side of the books that people don't see. And as far as them claiming that they need money and that's why they're writing these citations and things like that, no, that's not because they need money. It's because they need to keep, the way they look at it, they need to keep the playing field even. And to them, an even playing field is keeping man way down here, keeping citizen way down here, and keeping government and the corporate system way up higher. You know what I mean? Because the second that man learns that, you know what, they really aren't way up above us, that actually the roles have been reversed, then they're going to lose their power. It's more of a power struggle and more of a fear of losing their power than anything at all. You know what I mean? Was there any evidences you saw as an officer regarding these bonds and things like that? I mean, was there any paperwork you stumbled across where you saw things?
The only paperwork that I came across was a lot of bailments. A lot of bailments were presented as I went to court. I try not to go to court a lot. I try not to put a lot of people in jail after I learned what was going on. But a lot of paperwork that I saw was actually bailments, charging orders, and audits. That's basically what I observed being in the court while I was summoned to be a witness in the stand regarding a case or an arrest that I did. That's basically some suretyship bonds I came across. I don't know if y'all know what suretyship bonds are, but they're contractual arrangements. And it's all regarding child custody and all that. So all that came into play. Case bonds, replevin bonds. You probably know about that. What else? I think that's it. I mean, I don't remember coming across any performance bonds, anything like that. But there was. Like I said, those that I did observe, it really opened my eyes to what what they were doing, and I started figuring out the procedures that they were taking. Why people were coming in here. Just like a bailment. The bailment is just a delivery goods to personal property. By you. It's I don't know. I mean, it's regarding everything that is being created within the system that really boggles up or boggle us up, and we don't understand how it works. But once we understand how it works, it starts flowing. It starts we start getting all the understanding of it. And as a police officer, like I said, I knew that that citation was like an appearance bond. You appeared because they knew that people were coming to court and they're not going to fight it. And a lot of people don't fight tickets. A lot of people just go and sit down and wait for the judge. And some people try to fight the ticket there, in which you try to fight a ticket or anywhere, you dishonor yourself right away, and they make you the surety of the straw man, and they get you. They get you for all you got. It could be sitting in jail as they collect rent out of you, out of your exemption account, or it is that they cite you for speeding or no driver license or whatever, and you spend a year in jail for not having a driver license or whatever. I mean, the drug laws are getting worse. That's what I saw before I quit. The drug laws. The more people that catch in drugs, the more years they're going to spend in jail. Why? Because there's more money to make within these people, within the people that don't understand the system. You get, there's no such thing as a drug law, okay? There's no such thing. It's like me having a pack of cigarettes, Is there a law for nicotine? No. Is there a law for caffeine? No. Is it a drug? Yes. But why is there drug or laws for these other drugs? Because they classify them certain elements. Okay, they classify them 1, 2, 3, and 4. The one, it'll give you a certain degree. The next one will give you a certain degree or stay jail. The next one will give you another degree, maybe even a felony. And so they classify them. And when they classify things, that's what they tend to go to the highest classification, because the higher classified or a felony that you have, guess what? It's going to create more revenue, more money for the city, more money for while you're sitting in jail. They're collecting from you. I mean, your account is being collected from, and if you don't understand, you just think that you're in jail because you're in jail. For having a drug law possession or whatever. But it's only statutes. It's only codes. I mean, there's no such thing as a law drug. There's not.
You glanced on something a little bit ago that I wanted to get into, and you were talking about private banker. And with a lot of things that I've read, things I'm coming to comprehend, I think that by using the Federal Reserve notes, that I guess you would call it, under presumption, we are considered to be experts at banking, since we're going ahead and using these, and a lot of people are working on different processes. I mean, we look back at things that Hartford Van Dyke was doing, and he was teaching. He did a book, Currency for Small Communities, which he ended up spending 7 or 8 years in prison for, which ended up in a way being a godsend because he wrote Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars during that time. But you had mentioned private banking. Do you have any experience in that area? Have you done anything with that?
With that, the only thing that I fell my hands into is filing for an EIN as a private banker. I don't have it with me, but I did file an EIN as a private banker, and if I'm still gonna work within the system, I'm gonna identify myself as a private banker. Okay. Some of the paperwork that I do does contain private banker. So depending on who I'm sending the paperwork to. I still play around with the system. I still file paperwork with the system. But private banker, I mean, if you understand the bonds, the receipts, how to write something, how to write you know that every bill it's an actual money order. If you know that, if you actually understand all that, you're a private banker. I am registered with the IRS as a private banker. Maybe I'll cancel it soon, sometime next week or next month. I don't know. Because I really don't
cancel it?
I don't think I really need an EIN number to represent myself as a private banker. I believe that once we understand the banking laws and banking system, I don't think we need anything to identify us as, since you already know how it works.
Well, I think a lot of it, we may know how it works, and learning and this and that, but to be able for it to be functional, all things need to be done through notice. You know what I mean? Otherwise,
Correct.
They're just going to look at you like you're some other Joe Sixpack idiot on the street. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And,
yes, sir.
So I see. I think myself putting out notice is really the crux of where everything lays at. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that whether it's a Social Security number or an EIN number, those aren't for the man or the woman. Those are for a fictional entity. And that entity, the way I've come to realize, is created by this corporate construct, so therefore they're the only ones that can do anything with it as far as getting rid of it or destroying it. We can't. But what we can do is we can regain control on it. You know what I mean?
Yes, we can. And I believe once we gain control of our straw man, once we gain control of everything and we present ourselves everywhere as a living man. I mean, even at work, I'm planning to give my paperwork this coming month for my new W-4, which I have a form that's saying that I don't want them to withhold my taxes anymore because I'm exempt. And I'm fixing to do that, and it has to work. I'm sorry, it has to work because I believe it's going to work. And I'm planning to do that. I'm planning to speak to the IRS hopefully next week. If not, I'm just going to send them a letter. So, what do you call it? The holidays go through and they don't get an answer, or they don't receive my paperwork till January, so that'll leave them in default. But things like that. We gotta do things like that to help us go up a little notch. And
well, you know what? I want to chime in there for a second because you brought up the IRS. And I was having a conversation with somebody here, about a week ago, and I'm not going to mention the organization they're from because it's another one of these groups that think they know all the answers to everything and want to charge everybody $800 to learn it. But anyway, I was talking to them, and they were trying to explain to me, do you know, I mean, they thought I was a complete idiot to everything, I guess. Do I know that the corporate government is just going around, pushing the IMF onto other countries and this and that we are actually just the whipping boys for the IMF and for the Bank of International Settlements and yada, 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 okay? Yeah, I get it. I know all that stuff. And, I realize that the wool's been pulled over everybody's eyes, that practically everything we've been taught, everything we thought we knew is completely wrong, is completely false. We don't know where we're from. We don't know where we live. We don't know who we are. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the IRS, I told them, I said, listen, what if since we know all of this is all BS, it's been thrown on us, what if the IRS is actually your friend? We've been made to look at them as the enemy all this time because the corporate construct doesn't want us to know that, guess what? The Treasury is actually, the bankers are actually over the corporate construct and can hold their feet to the fire. So they want us to be afraid of them. They don't want us to befriend them. They don't want us to use them against the corporate construct. So they have tried to keep us divided from them our whole life, whether it's movies or whatever the case may be. We've been taught to live in fear of the IRS. You know what I mean? So, what I'm saying is, what if the possibility is the IRS should actually be looked at as your friend? Yeah, you should come to a meeting of the minds with them and use them to do the bidding for that fictional entity.
I agree with you. There was a man that I spoke to a while back here in Rosenberg. He called me up and said, "Hey, PA, I just made a call to my utility company. I don't have to pay utilities for my next 4 months because I told them, how do they expect me to pay them if I don't have any money? And per SJR 182 from 1933, there's no money. And I told them I want a copy of your true bill. I want a copy of the true bill because I want to access my taxes. And if I can get a copy of the true bill, I'm gonna call the IRS CID and make a claim. And PA, I didn't pay utilities for 4 months. So
wow,
there's something there. They know something.
Hey, you know what? It's about 20 minutes to 8, and I generally wrap these calls up about 8 o'clock. I think 2 hours is probably a comfortable amount of time, especially if people want to go back and re-listen to them. You know what I mean? And generally, we might have a man or woman on the line that has a question. I've had a couple people pipe in with me online asking questions, so I don't know if there's anybody there. I don't know if the board is muted. They can start to unmute if anybody has something they want to bring up. I'll leave the floor open for anybody if they want to come in and
mute off,
ask anything or mention anything.
If I may?
Yes, how are you doing?
Hey.
Who are you and where are you from?
Yes, this is Marshall Muriel, Damien. I did have questions regarding that. How do you rescind the IRS to, basically not sit here and not to pay taxes on something that really is not being used for what you intended it to be used?
Okay, you talking about property, or you talking about just certain taxes on things that you use? Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like, for example, employment, or just general taxes that you pay on stuff that you buy.
Well, the taxes on things that you buy, it's always going to be you're always going to pay taxes on that. But
Okay.
the taxes that are questionable are the taxes for your property, taxes for withholding supposedly your income. Those kind of taxes are the ones that we actually question about. You're always going to pay taxes for gas. You're always going to pay taxes for and stuff like that. But
you have been muted. To
taxes
unmute yourself, press
on
the
your
star key
withholding.
twice.
Those are the taxes that will be more questionable, and those are the ones that we as man, as who we are, we're not supposed to be paying taxes on any of this. Now I can understand, like I said, what you buy,
Mute off.
you're gonna have to pay it. But I mean, on these other two items that I spoke about, I don't think we're supposed to. I believe there is a way to be exempt, and I think I'm tapping into it. And whenever I do tap into it, and whenever I have success, I will report it. I will put it on, and my first thing I'm going to do is with my employer. I'm going to start with them. I have a form that I'm going to fill out, and I'm going to give it to them. And at the same time, I'm going to give them a copy because the employers don't know. Now, if I get fired, then I understand. Then I'll come back around, and I can offer a sue against them, but I'm not going to do that to my employer. I'm not. I'm just going to go ahead and do my paperwork. And to tell the truth, a lot of people are not ready to let go of a lot of things. A lot of people are not ready to let go of their employment. A lot of people are not ready to let go of their Social Security. A lot of people are not ready to go or let go of all the benefits that the government is giving them. They're not ready. They're not prepared. I don't know. I don't know where the faith ended. I don't know where the standing strong ended, and I believe that's what happened in 1913 when we in disguise of benefits we got screwed. Mankind got screwed, and now we have to reap what we let them sow, and but a lot of people are not ready to let go of a lot of these things. A lot of people are, they need it. I believe I don't. That's why I'm finding a way to terminate all my contracts, and before I terminate all my contracts, I want to be honorably with what I do. I don't want to have anything in my credit. I don't want to have anything and present my termination of contract. Just like if you go and have the membership at let's say Sam's Club. You have a membership at Sam's Club, or any of these companies that they require membership. As long as you don't owe them, the IRS is not going to come to you, or their agent. Okay, they're collectors. They're not going to come to you. And the membership is terminated. And I believe that once everything is taken care of on the public side with the government, and you don't owe anything, I believe the termination can go through. And I have 4 forms that I've been working on to build on that. And like I said, if I have success, I will post it, and I will. I was telling Bryan that I might even make a book as to every step that I've taken, every step that I've done, to where I've arrived, and I'm going to do it, and it's going to help out a lot of people, and I'm hoping that it has helped me, it's going to help you.
Now, and that's great. I'd like to follow up with you more about how to go through this process, as well as a question that I also have. Child support, for example, it's illegal. What they're doing is illegal. How do I rescind that from my person?
Okay.
This is Bryan. If I can cut in for a second, Marshall, I would strongly suggest. I don't know if you've listened to any of our calls with Tim Damron, but I've been missing
a couple of calls. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, because even as far as like child support goes, number one, we've seen evidence on TV over and over and over that they cannot even prove parentage. It's impossible.
That's right.
They can only they test the guys out, which cannot show that they're the father of a child. It has to be done through mitochondrial DNA. So they'd actually have to test the guy's mom's DNA is who they'd have to go to. So But anyway, yeah, PA, what were you going to have to say?
Yes, what I was going to say, child support, it is a scam. It is a racketeering scam. A lot of fathers have seen a lot of fathers hurt by it. A lot of fathers have lost their job. A lot of fathers have been sitting in jail for it. And the once you control the strawman with you being the creditor over it, and you being presenting yourself as a creditor, I believe all that goes away. Because the child support, it's already paid for. Okay, it's already paid for with the marriage license. When you got married, and if you have a marriage license, then the state can have control over your marriage. Okay, that's a concept. With that marriage license, they're creating revenue. They're creating money, and with that marriage license, the child support is paid for. It's already paid for. But the thing that they're doing is that the more these child support collectors collect, the more federal funding they receive, so they can get their raises, so they can get their vacation time, so they can get all these high-paying jobs. That's the only reason why they enforce so much of the collection of it. But through your marriage license, their child support is already paid for. That's all I can say. After that, I'll see if I can post something regarding that. Like I said, I've been studying a lot. I've been working on a lot of things. I was involved in child support. I went up to the child support office one day and I said, look, I don't want to be your customer anymore. You're being a bad company. I don't want to be your customer anymore. And she started asking me, well, what do you mean? You know what I mean. And I started explaining to her all the process of it and everything. And are you here to offend me? I said, no, I'm here to terminate my contract because it's not mine. It's already paid for. Just get it off the marriage license. And guess what? I mean, I did not stop paying the child support because I was going to stop because they were going to take me to court, okay? But she called me up on my way to the house, and she said, hey, Mr. Casares, can you come back in? We want to take care of this. I said, okay, let's take care of it. So I went up there, and I said, okay, I'm here. What are we going to do? I said, well, I said, you know what? I love my daughter. I'll give her $300 a month. But I volunteered to give her $300 a month. Not that that they told me this is how much you're gonna pay. No, I told them I'm gonna give her $300 a month because maybe I'll forget to give her $300 a month. Maybe I'll forget to give her that money. No, take that out. Take it out. But I told her what I wanted because they know what's going on. I have not tapped into it. I have not tapped into it, but I know that through the marriage license, everything's paid for. The state pays that child support completely. I mean, everything is already paid for. I mean, like I said, but we're the ones that are paying for it if we don't pay it. I decided to pay the $300. I have not tapped into it exactly how to present it to somebody that can go in there. But what I did, I'm telling you right now what I did. I went up there and said, I don't want to be a customer. I don't have my paperwork that I used in front of me, so I can tell you the rest of it. But if I find it, I'll send you a copy or I'll post it up all the paperwork, all the terminology that I used, everything that I explained to her, and that's why she called me back. But
okay, great.
But I would do that for you.
I would be interested in that because I wanna go ahead and get that rescinded out of my name.
Yes, sir.
Well, they're hitting that through her bonds, through her birth certificate bonds. So you just need to stick the IRS on that.
Yes, but I believe that that everything, once you become a secure party or give them notice that you're a secure party creditor, all that goes away. That's what I believe. I went about another way, and I learned the terminology. I studied their training manuals. I mean, I did a lot of studying, and I have it. I have to just look for it. I don't know where I put it. I have it, and I will try to post as much as I can. But if it's too many, I think it's a lot of paperwork. But if I cannot post it all, I will create a flash drive and I will send it to Bryan, and then I guess Bryan can send it to anybody who wants it, or I'll see if I can get a website where I can post it up there, and y'all can download it from there and see what I. Okay.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, but if you have a marriage license, that's a contract. They're making money out of that, out of your marriage, and they're over your marriage. The state is over your marriage. They're the ones taking care of your marriage. So just letting y'all know, when you sign that marriage license, you gave your marriage to the state instead of God.
And I was married. I was married for 15 years. I'm divorced now, but so they're still claiming. They're still claiming. So again, I would like to know what process or what steps I need to take to get that taken care of and removed from my name.
Okay, if you want to message, send me your email, and I'll see if I can find the paperwork, and I'll send it to you what I used and the terminology that I used in the child support office.
Okay.
But your marriage license, even though you have a divorce, does not disappear. It's still there. If you've been married 3 times, you have 3 marriage licenses, and guess what? You're making them a lot of money. Just letting y'all know that. So.
And if you're ready, I'll go ahead and give you my email.
Just if you want to, if you have Facebook, just send it to me on message, because right now I'm not in a place to write. Just send it to me on a message on Facebook, and I'll get it down, and just tell me that you spoke to me on the call, and then we'll get the paperwork done. And
I'm sorry, your full name again?
My name is Quit Lawak Casares, but I go by PA General.
Gonzalez. Quit Gonzalez. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I yield.
Yes, sir.
Was there anybody else out there that had anything they wanted to ask or mention? Or
Brian, Captain John here.
Hey, Captain John, how are you doing?
Yeah,
how are you doing?
Quit. I know we're running short on time here, but this wonderful gentleman that goes by the name of Private Attorney General, a quick question is he familiar with the efforts of Rod Class, who's been running his Private Attorney General classes for about a year and a half now? And I would love for the two to meet and hook up with each other. So that's my question.
Okay. I've heard of Rod Class. A lot of people have been sending me stuff on him. I have read his stuff, but I have never spoken to him or talked to him. I mean, it'd be good if maybe one day we can meet up and chit chat, because we do need a group of people or a group of men that are alive and willing to defend those that need help.
Rod's taken this quite a bit further. I think he's either into his 5th or 6th iteration of running classes where he trains the private attorney generals, and Rod is quite a master, in my view. So with the knowledge and the perspective that you bring to the table, and with his efforts, I've heard you say several times that you're out there to help people and to get the word out. Well, Rod's doing the same thing, except he's been at it a little longer, and he's taken a little further. And you guys would probably enjoy helping each other.
Okay. Yeah, if you want, give him just tell him to come on Facebook, send me a message, and I'll give him all my information, and maybe we can make a call or get together one day and just chit chat for a long time. Because I believe the law enforcement background that I have, it's going to help him out a lot. It's going to help him out as to what goes on in the road and the background of the paperwork that's been done and the reports that are created just on the calls that we receive and the arrests that we made. I believe that's going to help him out a lot.
I'll contact Rod and see if I can get his permission to give you his phone number.
Okay.
Doesn't he charge for them classes?
Right. The classes, well, I guess I'll answer your question. Yes, of course, because they hold them at certain locations and there's room and board and whatever and overhead. So yeah, he's paying for his overhead. Absolutely, absolutely. That is correct.
Okay.
That's the only thing Rod Classes ever charged. He's got 20 years of stuff. If you send him a 1 terabyte external hard drive, he'll download everything he's ever done in 20 years and give it to you for free. So let's not misconstrue here. Does he charge for the PhD classes? Absolutely.
Right.
This is Susie. I was in this class in July of 2015, and there's a big difference between knowledge and a terabyte of information and actual verifiable results. Also, Judge Nadu, who represents himself as a tribal chief who lives in Malaysia, is also become affiliated with Rod Class, and he sells tribal membership and offers tribal judgment for people who are like going through a foreclosure or something like that. I myself spent $8,000 on the tribal membership and $14,000 to get J.P. Morgan Chase from stealing my home. Neither of these things came to pass. It was talk. So I would say verify everything and check everything twice before you integrate someone else's perceptions into your own. Everything that I've heard from everyone, tactical sovereignty that has headed up these calls has verifiable results, tangible results that can be duplicated. And that is not the case with all other groups. And there's a significant amount of money that you're going to spend for assistance from Rod Class or Carl or any of those guys. Where here, someone like myself can get results just for the cost of filing fees and certified letters and so forth.
Can you quick comment on your experience with the PhD class, with Rod Class? What was your experience?
My experience was it was a lot of information was not relevant to anything that I needed. The terabyte of information is a lot of knowledge and basically chronicles all the things that he's done. But he is trying to turn the United States ship around and get precedences, and that is not helping in terms of, fixing a ticket or stopping the foreclosure or, things that are commonplace, things like garnishment of wages for a student loan and so forth. So it was a lot of great information. It was a good foundational thing. It's kind of like going to law school. Law school is going to give you a degree, but is not going to help you in court with day-to-day, how do you handle certain things. And I can say that because my daughter is a bar attorney.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, on the foreclosures and your vehicle titles and all this stuff that I've been learning was that in order for you to take repossession of it again or make it your own, you becoming the owner of it is what I've been learning is a bill of sale is mightier than a title and the MCO on the vehicles and all that. That's what I've been learning. And there's a man that I'm helping that he has his own house. He bought it, but he's tired of paying taxes. And I said, well, the only way you can do, because he's not here in the United States or in this piece of land, he's not here under their citizenship. He doesn't have no ways of having a trust or having an exemption account. So I told him what he needs to do is he needs to sell his property to somebody that he trusts and then get it back from him, getting the bill of sale in silver or in gold, and then taking it to the county and to the Secretary of State and filing it there. So whenever they want to charge you taxes, they won't be able to because there's no money. Not unless they pay you that amount on your bill of sale or the bill that you bought the house from. So that's the only procedure that
let me speak to that. I bought my house in 2006. They started foreclosure proceedings in 2008. In 2016, I'm still in my home. Now, what you said about going to the clerk in Orange County, California, the clerk will not file anything that the banks don't approve to be filed. And they will actually send armed bailiffs and they will come and take you to jail. And this has happened to, some of the people I'm affiliated with trying to, tame the beast here in Orange County, California. So again, in terms of the papers and what you write and so forth, it may be absolutely correct. But in practice, in tangible results, what you're saying will not work in Orange County, California. I can't speak to any other places where I live.
Okay. Is Orange County, California different from any other county in California?
For corruption, I would say yes.
They're different. Okay, file it in a different county. And with the Secretary of State. Don't go to that county. There are times that I don't file my paperwork in the county I live in. I usually go to another county, and sometimes I look for the small country towns that they barely know the system, and they see the paperwork, they go crazy. Okay, well, let's file it. And it's still
I'll be honest with you, I'm willing to try anything that has tangible results. But if this is just a suggestion that hasn't had tangible results, I'm kind of out on that deal.
I mean, because your county is within the state of California. If any other county is not like that county, why not file it somewhere else? It's still the same state.
Yeah, no, this is Bryan. I will back that up. You could go and file that to a different county as well.
Yeah.
And at the same time, things that have been filed in one county in the U.S. Are allowed to be filed anywhere, no matter what they really want to say. And so a lot of people are going and filing things with Bill Hewitt in Lamar, Georgia, and getting a certified copy, and then going and filing that with their clerk, when their clerk prior wouldn't file it.
So the question is, does that reap tangible results? That's the only thing that really matters, whether you file it in Orange County or LA County or a county in Georgia. Does that get tangible results with J.P. Morgan Chase and other tentacles?
It still should show up in their system.
Okay, well,
it shouldn't be moot.
Nope. It should be all.
I'd be happy to walk the walk. I've tried everything possible, and what I'm doing right now to keep the auctions postponed is very unorthodox as well. So, but
Susie, I've got a question for you.
I'm one of those persons that won't say die. Yeah.
Are you friends with Renee Powers?
Friends, no. Acquaintances, yes.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right. I just know that she's had a lot of experience with dealing with the same kind of issues and stuff like that.
She's not successful with her own home, and she's affiliated with Williams PAG from Hawaii. I know who she is, and I've talked to him.
Yeah, he's currently still in jail, isn't he? In custody still?
I believe so.
Yeah. All right.
So that is not a path I want to follow.
Well, yeah, a path to jail normally it doesn't always sound too inviting. All right. And thank you for your endorsement for Tactical as well on top of it. I appreciate that. I try to share things that aren't just throwing darts, things that actually make sense and that work. And what I show from things from me aren't things that I'm just throwing darts with. It's stuff that I've thrown a dart, it worked, okay, now I go and show it when it works, and I think that's important for people to see. Anybody can throw darts, but it's showing what's happened after you've thrown a dart, that's another story.
I have throw darts too. When I was in court, trying to fight J.P. Morgan, the only thing I could think of was to make the judge my fiduciary. And I filed the IRS form with the court clerk, and then the court clerk, Judge Wilson's rebutted it and said he didn't accept it, and that wasn't his responsibility, and he wasn't going to do that, and he rejected that. However, I took that form to the IRS, and they put me in front of an IRS agent, and he basically ripped me from my first job that I had when I was 14 at the beach snack bar, and every job I've ever had since then, and anything that was outstanding, and asked me if Judge Wilson's was going to settle the account for the outstanding taxes for this year and that year, and something that wasn't paid as far as community property taxes when I was married before I was divorced. And I said, yeah, he's going to pay everything off. He's going to settle the account, and everything is going to be balanced to your satisfaction. And I walked out of there because I totally improvisation the whole thing, not knowing what would happen. Well, that was 3 years ago. I have never paid federal taxes, since 2009. And that stopped all the bills, that stopped all the collections, that stopped everything. That was throwing the dart. It was the right form. I gave the right answers to the IRS agent, and so the IRS beating on my door for taxes is not an issue for me. So I'm all for throwing darts.
Well, and that's the same knowledge that Tim's been sharing with people as well, and so it's great to see somebody that's done it and had success with it.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Now, if I could get some success with the Franchise Tax Board, state tax, that would be great because they're garnishing my wages, 25%. But actually, they told the payroll company to garnish 25% of everything in my check, which includes reimbursement for costumes, reimbursement for travel, reimbursement for meals, and other things. So actually, on some checks, they're getting 34% of my check, and I haven't been able to stop the Franchise Tax Board.
Have you filed UCC 1?
No, I haven't.
All right. Well, you might want to look into doing that. And on top of it, since you basically sicked the IRS on the situation with the judge, you filed, what was it, a Form 56 with them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sick them also on the Franchise Tax Board as well. That's what they're doing. And file a 3949A after doing your UCC 1.
Okay.
Listen in on some of Tim's calls.
Okay. Will do. Thank you.
Thanks, Susie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Susie.
Sorry, Pierre. I didn't mean to steal any thunder from you.
I learn something new every day, So, but it's amazing, man. It's amazing. I believe there's a big bomb coming, man. A big explosion where this whole thing is just going to go down. And I believe, and I posted that other day. Why did the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health Services, the IRS, all these IHS, DHS, CTS, whatever, I put, why did they stockpile weapons and ammunition? Because they know it's coming. They know the awakening is coming. They know people are going to realize what happened. That's why they have all that prepared.
Yep. Yeah, and as long as they could get the manufacturers, as long as they were first in line to have all that stuff produced, they weren't able to produce any of it for us as well, And I think that there is an awakening coming, but I don't want people to be sitting back comfortably waiting for the awakening to come, because the awakening is coming all on a single level, all within each man and each woman, and that's where it's got to start at. It's got to start at that individual level.
But Brian, that's what I've learned. that we might have 10, 15 years working on this. When that person awakens, he's going to have your 10, 15 years that you have, that I have, and guess what? They're going to have that knowledge too, just like that quick.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I believe that's how it's going to happen. I mean, we could have spent 20 years, those guys that are out there that have been doing it for 30 years, I believe that info is going to be on that person straight right on them. Why? I don't know. I just believe that's how it's going to work.
Well, we know, the scripture tells us that in the end times that there'll be a huge growth of knowledge, and people read that and they think, oh, yeah, technology, gosh, first there's, just the old black and white TVs that you used to have to get up and turn the channel, and now you can pretty much turn the channel on your TV from work if you want to, on your watch, but it's not just technology knowledge and that kind of learning, and it's all knowledge. It's the knowledge that we're talking about right here. It's the knowledge. It's the knowledge of the crimes that have been committed against humanity and how to undo it, and how we really are supposed to be operating in honor. How we've been taught all this time to be operating in dishonor, and that's where the problem is really laid at.
Yes, yesterday, somebody invited me to their home and said, hey, man, we created something that will slow your utility down. And I said, why you want that? And he was talking about some plasma, being run into the plasma and all this and that. And it says that it slows down your electricity tremendous. I said, well, I mean, it'd be good, but let's just do this process, and you don't have to pay utility bills because you don't have to. But he invited me to their house to see that. They wanted me to know how it was created, and supposed to this plasma is connected to the electricity, and it runs through the electricity runs through the plasma, and it slows it down. I mean, the meter will go low, real slow. So
yeah, I've heard of some of those devices. Those are pretty interesting, and that that's one of the things people need to realize. Like with electricity is natural. It's out there. The only thing that maybe these utility companies are doing is they're redirecting it. They may be doing things also to. We think it's creating it, but it's actually just taking it and redirecting it. And everything we purchase, like when you go to the store, say you go to a houseware store and you buy plates, for instance. Well, you're not buying plates. Everything that we buy, we are buying energy. We are buying labor. That is the only thing you purchase is labor, because everything comes from the earth. We are paying, when you're buying a plate, you're paying for the labor of some man or a company of taking that clay from the earth and forming it into a paint or into a plate, and then painting it with other products that came from the earth. You know what I mean? We are only purchasing labor and energy. That's it.
I've had this conversation with every worker where I'm at, and I told them, look, I bet you if you quit and you charge them your labor to them, they're not going to pay you because the labor is what costs. And I'm going to go a little bit into the Adam and Eve thing on this labor thing. I believe Eve ate of Cain's labor. That's what I think. I believe they ate their labor. That's why she fell.
Yep.
Great. Because they ate of their own labor. She gave to Adam. So that's what I think. Because we're not supposed to eat our labor. We're not supposed to. But that's
absolutely
another time.
Yeah, no, that is our story, but it relates so directly people don't even realize.
Yeah. And you know that now, what's the curse of mankind? You're gonna live off your labor.
Yep.
Yep. And guess who's living out of our labor? the freaking government, or the so-called shadow government. I call it a shadow government because they ain't no government. They don't even know they exist themselves. You know. So.
Well, you know why they refer to it as shadow government, and I say sure enough it's a shadow government, and the reason why it's a shadow is because it doesn't exist. It's a corporation, and it's right there in front of our eyes, and people don't realize it. You know.
I posted a post yesterday saying every city, you don't live in the city because it's a paper. Not unless you're standing on that piece of paper, but you're living in the city. You know?
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly the words I used, but I was reading on it. I said, "What the heck?" I said, "That is right. The city is just a paper. It's not an actual city. You know, it's a freaking corporation. I mean, dang, man. You know, it's amazing.
That city or that state, exactly. That city or that state is a corporation, and a corporation looks nothing different than it's just a bunch of papers sitting on a desk somewhere in some attorney's office. That is what a corporation looks like, and so it's impossible to live in a corporation. You live on the land of the town, but you can't live in it.
Right. You can't live in it. I mean, you live by it because of the paper, but not because you're in it once. I mean, I don't think there was any boundaries, any lines way before, the Earth was created. I believe we were meant to live free, not live in a bondage. But
and that's all part of the brainwashing. That's all part of the brainwashing of being part of their corporation. And it's time for us to break those chains and to say, you know what, we've had enough. It's time for us to remove our consent and return to our rightful positions.
That's it. Yes, sir. And I'm with you, man. I'll fight to the end.
Well, let me see if the gatekeeper is around so we can wrap this call up. We're, 20 minutes after the hour now? A little longer than we expected, but hey, that's no problem. It happens, and hopefully people get something out of it. I mean, I even get things out of all the calls that we do with the guests that we have on. It's as much for me as it is for anybody else.
Yes. I hope so. They did. I mean, I hope there were some officers online and heard it, and so they can start understanding that everything they do is fraud. Everything. Not unless they arrest somebody for killing somebody or they committed murder or destroying property, then I can understand. You got to pay for that. But because you're infringing on somebody else's liberties. But other than that, man, everything else is a fraud. Everything, and that's the training that they have. They have to enforce that training, and that's how they know. And that's the problem. A lot of people do not understand that that's all they know. They don't know how to build a boat. They only know how to be on it and go fishing. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. And, I would have loved to have had a previous or current officers, chime in this evening. And hopefully there were some on the call. Maybe it kind of set them back. Maybe they're sitting back kind of thinking. It's caused them to think a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And that's what everybody needs to do is start using their noggin a little bit and start thinking. I think everybody's been trained not to think, and that's been the whole problem all along. That's one of the reasons why everybody's become so complacent.
Yes, I was thinking of starting a police officers group, and maybe I can get some officers that I know, and maybe they can bring their friends, and I want to tell them, look, this is going to be beyond what you know. It's going to either help you out in the streets or it's not going to help you in the streets. You're going to get up and leave. But I want to do this for you. I want to do this so you can understand who you are, what you work for, and what you stand for. And I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping that there will be officers that will show up. There will be officers that will receive the information, and they'll be willing to understand because they're getting trained to be all citizens, and we're not. We're mankind. We're man. We're supposed to not be under a corporation. or be a corporation, and that's what I wanted to understand. And hopefully, I can get a good response from it,
Well, you know what, PA General? I'll tell you what. You just gave me an idea. Let me give you a commission, all right? Why don't you go and start up a officer-friendly, having been a previous officer yourself, why don't you start up an officer-friendly Facebook page and and advertise it into some of the other police officer sites, because I know there's a few of them out there, and get it built up a little bit and start educating some of them little by little from that standpoint.
Okay, I will do it. I will work on that.
That might be one way of going about it. Well, anyway, I guess we can start wrapping this up. I think we've got the gatekeeper around here. Are you here, gatekeeper?
Yep, I'm here.
You're here? All right. Well, it's been a great call, and I really appreciate the time that PA General has given us, and I hope people have learned some things. It's what this is all about on this journey is actually learning, and unlearning is the biggest part of it. And so, lastly, I really want people just to truly know where you're from, where you are, and who you truly are. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Bryan.
All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good night. Thank you for tuning in to Matrexit Broadcast Media with the Matrexit Assessor Group. The end. Good night. I yield.
Call recording.